Hello, dear Piscean friends. Well, we made 2020 and we are just on the border of 2021, starting a new decade. And this new decade is starting with a bang, basically, because you've got a Jupiter and the Saturn alignment. And they will stay like that in the entire year, apart from a few months when Jupiter will enter your own sign, Pisces. So this is an exciting time. But Jupiter and Saturn has just entered your shadow sector of your chart, which is the 12th house. Now, what is Jupiter and Saturn? Jupiter is all about faith and optimism and growth, expansion. And Saturn is more about let's do it slowly but surely. It's the planet of moderation. We don't need the fancy stuff, Saturn says. And these two together are very much about business growth and opportunities. Now, I want to talk about 12th house a little bit because most of us are very scared of it. And am I a little bit because I have got Pisces rising sign as well, and of course Saturn and Jupiter has entered my 12th house where there is my planet of Sun, which is all about ego and, and so forth. But I'm looking at it a lot more positive way. And of course, we are going to be having some damage this year, but at the same time, this transit is giving us plenty of opportunities as well. So the 12th house always shows something within us which is troubled, or someone in your life you are close to and might be troubled, and you're gonna have to fix that relationship with the person. Now, I would say that any planet is excluded, exemptions of 12th house energies, especially when they have got an aspect to your midheaven. So we're talking about a square or a possible sextile, or some of you even might have got a trine towards their midheaven, and that is going to be a work-related planet. So in my case, for instance, the sun has got an exact sextile to my midheaven. So that 12th house sun is more about profession. Now, but let's dive into what 12th house is. So 12th house is something to do with behind the scenes, something which is hidden and buried within you, some of your deepest secrets. And having Saturn and Jupiter here indicates that you're going to have to work through those secrets. Maybe you need to come out of your shell, your comfort zone, and reveal some of those buried secrets about you. Then we also call the 12th house as the house of self-undoing. Now, it's a little bit of a fancy word, in my opinion. So self-undoing is very much about getting ready for a new chapter in your life, basically leaving the past behind, something to do with your inner demons, which you need to fight through. Um, 12th house is extremely intuitive. So the house of spirituality. This year, you need to be working on that as well. You need to connect with your karma, with your ancestry line. Also, 12th house is so much to do with far away, foreign places. We're talking about overseas, something which is out of reach. So anything to do with the space and so forth, planets, or even people who are out of your reach. So you might be longing for someone you never get together with, or you might have got plenty of like dreams and visions about being somewhere else, or even it could indicate relocation for you. So, for instance, this Saturn Jupiter transit, what it will bring me is I will relocate and I will go to a faraway place. I've never really been outside of Europe yet. Well, I've been to Cuba and some places, but not really like overseas places. You might be isolating this year. You might be charging up your batteries. You might be withdrawing yourself from certain things. Sorry about talking of myself quite a lot, but I want to share how I'm going to work through this experience. It might help you as well. And this year, I will dedicate plenty of time to even do more researches about astrology. And I also have decided to take a sabbatical at one point, and most probably when Jupiter is going to be entering the sign of Pisces, just a month to recharge my batteries so we don't necessarily burn out. 12th house is so much to do with your worries, concerns, even insomnia, mental health symptoms. So this year you might be working on those, something to do with your obsessions and your inner fears, um, something which you need to quit this year. So maybe it's about leaving smoking behind or eating less, deciding to lose weight, and then basically sticking your guns to this project. Saturn and Jupiter conjunction can be a real success. 12th house rules larger animals, so you might be deciding to, I don't know, work in a zoo if you want to. 12th house is like the odd one out. So in many cases, these people don't really feel part of something. And that's why they tend to be secluding themselves from the society a little bit to figure out what they really want. So, as I mentioned, Saturn and Jupiter together is very much about business sense, business opportunities. So, it could be giving you business opportunities in medical fields, fundraising, some charitable causes, working in institutions, prisons and hospitals and mental places, even elderly people homes. But you can work with spirituality as well, working with people who might have got some type of obsessions and you are helping them to overcome them. Because we're talking about the sign of Aquarius, even anything to do with new medical equipment could be part of your success. Don't forget that most of you, Jupiter and Saturn, are going to be sextile in your midheaven at one point. So this could really bring you success if you tweak the energies in the right way. You might decide to do numerology or dream interpretations or past life regressions and working with those. The whole idea here is to work with your inner world as much as you can, pulling away from the reality and making a plan for the future, which could develop. And in order for you to do that, you need to make some research. And you will have a preview of what is 2022 will bring you from May till beginning of August, when actually Jupiter is entering your own sign. And you can really see some personal growth in that period. You might become more optimistic. You might have got a strong desire to expand. You might feel very lucky and you're going to have more faith in yourself. So, the key success factor here for you this year is to develop a plan and seeing the light at the end of the tunnel, because things can work out in your favor, especially from May onwards. You know, another things you might be doing this year, and that's why you are secluded, is rehearsing, getting ready for a show, or you are going to be writing songs, writing a novel, getting ready for publishing. So all those type of, if you work with those energies, you might see some benefits from 2022 onwards, or even 2023, second part of the year, when Saturn eventually moves into your first house. So Saturn wants to teach you something in the 12, probably discipline. So as I said, giving up on things, figuring out what does not serve you anymore, and basically making a spring clean. Is it smoking? Is it eating? You're gonna have to ask yourself the question what you are obsessed with. Drugs, alcohol, alone time. Do you feel lonely? And that is holding you back. Do you have some secret love affairs which you know needs to be ended and focusing on something else instead? So yes, on the negative side, you might feel somehow blocked and being in the dark. You might feel energy loss or being tired all the time and wanting to relax and hide away and sleep a little bit. But the Jupiter wants you to tap into your subconscious and clearing away your karma, clearing away your fatigue. And I do believe if you have been putting energy into your spiritual understanding, and you will see plenty of benefits this year. Jupiter will allow you to see what is holding you back. And you can do that by meditations, regressions, inner child workshop, and so forth. Whatever help you need, we are here. I'm here to give you some guidance if needed. You're gonna have to deal with some losses this year because you have to make sacrifices in order for you to greater good to come around. You're gonna have to deal with being alone as well, probably a little bit more than ever. But it's allowing you to spiritually growing. And yeah, you might have to leave behind some of your old friendships as well, which is probably out of your league already. Now, the 12th house energy, which you are going through, is triggering an ending in some area of your life. The 12th house is all about endings, and Saturn transits are very much about maturity. So if we combine the two of them, then it is an influence which is prompting you to leave something behind which is outgrown or something which has outgrown you. It might be your relationship. So the question you have to ask yourself is what have you outgrown? Relationship, what is toxic in your life? Is that work or life in general? So Saturn tends to be building on the past. So you must know the answer already. But what Saturn does is it's crystallizing things. So you must have something going on within yourself. And Saturn will help giving shape and form to those. Um, I do believe some of us definitely will relocate. Most of us will have to deal with their self-destructive behavior. Um, Something which has no value anymore in our life. And what Saturn does is that at first it tries to control things, but trying and struggling with it could actually end up as suffering, which is very much 12th house again. So Saturn gives you a reality check here. Of course, it really depends on what type of planets you've got in the 12th house. So if you have got, for instance, the sun here, like myself, and it's all about your calling and profession and life mission and ego, I'm gonna have to think about what makes my heart sing. You know, I have believed that it's working 24/7 is what makes me, you know, like valuable for myself. But maybe I'm going to have to shift the energy and seeing that loneliness doesn't take me anywhere. Or for instance, if you've got Venus there, then you might need to be working on your love life. Or with Mercury, you might need to be working on studying something and so on. And the 12th house consciousness can be like a little bit fuzzy and strange and a little bit spacey. So I think do as much meditating and channeling as you can probably do. Um, Now, the major event of the year is Saturn-Uranus square. which will peak in February and then June and December. Now, I looked into this a lot deeper, and I'm going to share it with you today because otherwise the video would be a good 1.5, 2 hours. But Saturn and Uranus square is going to be fascinating, and it's going to bring us plenty of shaking up. But I'm going to be sharing that in a different video in the upcoming week. So Saturn-Uranus is the major aspect for 2021. And Uranus is all about freedom, rebellion, independency, unusual, weird things. And Saturn is like, let's go back to the past. Let's use things which have been tested before and work for plenty. Saturn talks about rules and obligations, responsibilities, our personal duties. Now, Taurus in Uranus in Taurus definitely will shake things up. So you're gonna have to again ask yourself the question: what are my most important values? Because this event is reminding you of that, to come out of your shell and eventually work towards your values in your confidence level. And of course, it's going to be happening with the square, which is all about tension and friction, kind of like being ripped apart, challenges. And to a certain extent, it is a wake-up call towards your life mission. Now, this square is taking place in your 12th and 3rd house, which is all about spirituality versus practical skills. So I feel like the comfort zone indicates here that you don't need to be learning. You don't need to be excuse me, you don't need to be an eternal student. Let's take it to the next level. It is an aspect which is awakening you for what really matters. And as I said, it might be a loss of a friend, or your long-term goals are going to be completely changing. The people who surrounding you will be shifting around. You might need to say goodbyes to some people in your life. You might want to be writing things down, as your mood actually can be swinging around this year, and you might forget important appointments. You might want to be taking part in a retreat, or you are going through a sudden spiritual enlightenment. Now, Mars will be entering your 3rd house at the beginning of the year. And that's actually very good for networking, meeting new friends, good for even communication, because your communication style can be very electrifying. So if you want to be motivating someone with your work or communication, then that, January, February could be a very great time. I think this year also good for learning, studying, even traveling. Hopefully the COVID situation will allow us. And Jupiter has got a 12-year cycle. So you might want to be going back and thinking about what was going on in 2009-ish. How was it when Jupiter entered your sign? I remember 12 years ago, in 2008, very towards the end of the year, I decided to relocate. And that's when Jupiter has already, that's when Jupiter was about to enter Pisces again in my 1st house. So, and yes, I wanted to escape. I had a little bit of a love drama, and then a Uranian Aquarius style. I just packed my bags, and the next day I left the country. And then I completely started a new chapter in my life. So ask yourself the question, what are you trying to escape from? Because your duty is very much about coming out to the world and share more with the collective. Now you are having your nodes in your 4th and 10th house. So indicating that there needs to be a little bit more focus on your home, your family, your roots. Kind of a time where it's time to grow up and settling down and maybe finding even your dream property or a dream location where you feel you can make it. And a little bit less focus on your social status, more focus on people who matter for you. You might want to be working on bringing your own extended family together. So creating a tribe, collaborating with others. Even if you are thinking about property business, that could be a good idea. Or you might be wanting to do something with agriculture or lands. That could also be quite good for you, which I'm going to be talking about very in depth in my Saturn-Uranus video, because I think it's going to be shaking up the entire economy and agriculture as well. I also feel like we've got plenty of opportunities in the relationship department as well, because let's not forget, Jupiter is going to be triggering your first and seventh house axis. And this is a great period of time because you can draw more people to you. You can speak more to the collective and you can focus on qualities rather than quantities. Well, I would like to thank you for being here in 2020 with me. And I hope to see you again in 2021 as well. Your continuous support matters a lot to me. And I would like to wish you a beautiful holiday season, a prosperous 2021. Take care, everyone, and see you soon. Bye bye.